everybody, and welcome to the NXT review. Well, I guess you could call it that, but there was a lot of stuff that went down tonight. And there was a lot of cool stuff that happened, and a lot of storylines that are being progressed, and a lot of things we need to jump right into. So let's get into it. We kicked off the show with Trick Williams defending the TNA World title against Josh Briggs in a normal one-on-one match. And I will say, wasn't expecting this to open the show, and I wasn't expecting this to be an actually good match. But it turned out to be awesome, and it was very hard-hitting. We saw two of the biggest guys in NXT go at it, but in the end, Trick Williams retained the TNA title. But after the match, what really shocked people, as Joe Hendry came out and attacked Trick, and that is how the opening segment ended. I love this. I think that they're finally getting Joe back into it. Joe's going to win it back again. But now that Joe's contract, I don't know about Joe's contract at the moment of recording this, but I do know that a couple of months ago his contract was expiring. So I don't know if his contract is expiring and maybe he comes over to WWE full time. But I really hope that Joe Hendry does not win this TNA title back, because I want to see Trick back in NXT full-time for sure. But I don't think Joe should be the one. It's like they're just passing it around between Joe and all these other, mainly Joe. The main event division in TNA, it almost seems like it just revolves around Joe Hendry. So I loved this opening segment. I loved how it went. I just don't know if I like how TNA revolves everything around Joe Hendry. Next up, we had a segment with Miles Bourne and two of the Gators football players, and Lexis King came up to Miles Bourne, and he made fun of him being deaf and all this, and now we'll see Miles Bourne versus Lexis King next week in a match, which I think is pretty cool, because we need to be getting Miles more on TV. He just branched off, and he's back on his own now, and I'm excited to see what he can do, and having him talk to Gators players isn't going to do him no good. I think that the best thing for him is next week, this match needs to let him shine, and he needs to keep doing singles work. That's what he's best at. He needs to keep doing it. Let's see what's next here. We had Javon Evans taking on Tavion Heights. If Tavion wins, he gets to branch off away from Charlie Dempsey and the No Quarter Catch crew. But if Javon wins, then Tavion has to stay with No Quarter Catch crew. Before the match, we figure out that Tavion was injured during practice going into this match, and it was from Charlie. So Charlie was trying to injure him before the match to get him to stay in No Quarter Catch crew. And Javon notices that, and Tavion has a mask for the match, so the mask looked actually pretty decent. And in the end, Javon Evans picked up the win against Tavion Heights. And I think after the match is what really shocked me, and that is that Jasper Troy attacked Javon Evans. So maybe we're getting Javon and involving Javon back into the main event division. Let's keep the fingers crossed, folks. Let's keep the fingers crossed that Javon Evans can finally, after months on end, finally get back in the main event picture where he deserves. Because if I'm being completely honest, Javon can really be in the main roster right now, if I'm being completely honest. If they gave him enough opportunities, he could be on the main roster. But instead, we have Jasper Troy attacking Javon, and we're going to see a one-on-one match next week with Jasper Troy and Yoshiki Inamura, which I will touch on later in the video whenever we get to that moment. And I just think that Javon getting attacked by Jasper isn't the right move unless we're going to put him in the main event division. Next up, we see the Revolution. Ricky Saints take on and defend his title, in which he does end up winning. And I think that, to be honest, Ricky as the champion, yes, it is so good. And I love it because Ashante v. Adonis, they had an awesome match in this matchup. But after the match, again, is what really shocked people. And Ethan Page attacked him. I don't think it's really a shocker. But it looks like we're putting Ethan right back into that division. And we know, I'm going to touch on this just for a minute because the rumors did come out, that apparently Ricky Saints and Ethan Page were pitched to join Seth Rollins' new faction. So if we would not have saw Ethan Page tonight on NXT, then I would have guessed we would have saw Ethan Page back on Seth Rollins' new faction, maybe. But Ethan Page is the North American champion, so I would not expect him to go to the main roster right now. But definitely would be cool to see. So yeah, I mean, I just think that Ethan is one of the best champions on NXT right now. He's awesome. He's one of everybody's favorites, and I mean, I just think that I think he is better than Ricky. He's better than Ricky in my opinion. But obviously, strict opinions in this division, because I mean, you don't really know what you're getting with this division. I mean, at one moment we're gonna have Ashante the Adonis, and the next we're gonna have Ethan Page taking on Ricky Saints in a gruesome match. So you never know what you're getting. And at one moment you're gonna see Ethan Page a Fanatics Fest. Like, you just never know. So I love what they're doing with the mid-card division. I just wish, if we're not going to throw Javon into the main event division, we need to throw him into the mid-card division where he can go against Ethan and have that banger and revisit that rivalry for the North American Championship this time. I think that's what we really need to touch on, instead of trying to go everywhere else with Javon, instead of pointing him right at where he needs to be. I mean, it's a given factor. It's a given. It's an alley-oop that the NXT universe. I'm lucky. Fried. But it is something that Shawn Michaels needs to catch, grab it, slam dunk. I mean, all he has to do is give Javon that match. So, next up, I'm just going to touch on these last few things here. And one, I want to talk about how Hank and Tank was laid out backstage. And I think it's either going to be Dark State or OTM that attacked them. And I love that, because, I mean, either one would be awesome, but I'm guessing Dark State. Because they posted a video earlier talking about, or later in the NXT, that they're scheming things. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what Dark State can do, but they just keep pump faking us with Dark State, and I don't like how they're doing that. I don't like how they pump fake us. I don't think it's good for us, because we love Dark State. I don't think there's a single NXT fan that does not like Dark State, but at the same time, you kind of gotta give them some stuff for them to build on. But then, as well as that, backstage, before that all happened, before we found out that Hank and Tank were attacked backstage, Ethan Page and Ricky Saints will be in Ava's office next week, and Ava's had enough. Ava has had enough of Ricky Saints and Ethan Page, and next week we're going to figure out whether or not Ricky gets another title shot or what. So I'm excited to see that. And honestly, I'm just going to hop right into our main event, because that was the main thing of this show. I'm excited to see what y'all think about this. And it was Jordynne Grace defeating Jada Parker, Lash Legend, and it was Lash Legend, Jordynne Grace, Jada Parker, and who else was it? I keep forgetting the last member. This episode is just going to be completely wrecked. Anywho, Jordynne Grace walks out with the victory. It was Izzy Dame, Jordynne Grace, Lash Legend, and Jada Parker. I predicted Jordynne to win. Jordynne ended up winning because it made the most sense. If you remember back to earlier this month, I think it was, maybe, we saw Stephanie Vaquer as your NXT champion, and we saw Jacy, Jen, and Fallon Henley talking smack, and then Jordynne Grace came out. So I just saw that connection right there, and I had a feeling that we were going to see them revisit this rivalry and actually dive into the rivalry this time, but for the NXT Championship at Evolution. So I think that's the healthy way to go about this rivalry, and I'm glad that we're going to it, because Evolution is going to be a really powerful pay-per-view for the women's wrestlers in the locker room, and I think that it's just going to be awesome to see the NXT Championship being presented on a women's PLE, and I think that is awesome, because we're seeing women's PLE purely based on women, and it is super cool because you're seeing your favorite stars all being on one show. But I really hope y'all enjoyed this NXT review. I know that it was a bit thrown together, because after these shows, your brain's still trying to process on what just happened. But I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see y'all boys in the next one. Deuces.